What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel and the stream. This is Books Nelson with That Me Bro Show, and we got a big drop today with this flash pack of. And so the big story is Hall of Fame range extender Shaq, but let's not let Ben Wallace with a three-pointer go unnoticed. He deserves some credit for being ridiculous as well, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna look at these cards, see who's good, see who's great. I don't know if there's any bad cards in these packs at all. And what I really wanted to have was a discussion about this whole idea that this is a fantasy mode, so you can just do anything, right? I think we've gotten a little far from the idea of what a fantasy mode actually is supposed to be in this kind of thing. So the original idea of this fantasy mode in my team is you can play any of the greatest of all time. This is basically a glorified version of, all-time rosters being mixed up with an all-time draft. And then you add in the moments and you're like, well, this best player on his best day and that kind of thing. And that's still all within the spirit of it. And then to make it quote unquote more fun, I guess, you start juicing cards, right? So guys are faster than they've ever been. They're better defenders than they've ever been. And that's about where you start to get the debate, right? Of like, is this fantasy or realism or what have you, like, is this fun anymore? We'll get to that. So that's the premise of the discussion that we're going to have. We're going to overview the cards now, but we're going to go into that in a second. Because I do, listen, I am originally Sim Nation, and as much fun as I'm having in my team and as much as I'm enjoying the support from the my team community, I got to be real with you guys. I'm not a fan of some of these things, and I always want to bring it back to that discussion because I'm going to play the mode anyway, right? I'm going to do all the stuff, full packs, play the game, look into the cards, and make the best of the situation. But just because I'm making the best of the situation doesn't mean I don't have thoughts on the way my team, quote-unquote, balancing and design is being handled. So we are going to get into it. So first things first, let's look at Lonzo. So Lonzo... it's funny, I caught a little bit of DBG talking about this. Lonzo is a good card with a big flaw, and that's that he has a really weird jumper. If you like Lonzo's jumper, then this card is fantastic. If you don't like Lonzo's jumper, then you have to pass. That's just kind of it at the end of the day. I like the Lonzo card to the point up to the point of the jumper, and I just hated the jump shot too much. I had to sell him immediately, and I was going to make him my backup point guard because he's 6'6". This is back when he was a diamond, I think. He's 6'6" and got good animations and all that other stuff, but his hezzy pull up is just too silly. He's just like an extra little bunny hop before he shoots, and I can't deal with it. So if you guys can deal with it, he's a good card. Let's keep it moving. So Michael Red, I'm actually really interested in this Michael Red to an extent. Now you see here he's compared to Galaxy Opal Brandon Roy, and that's my number one concern is like, is he just basically another Brandon Roy card? They both have excellent releases. I don't think you can get a better release than Brandon Roy's. So I don't personally want this card, but if you either A, didn't get the other Brandon Roy, or something about Brandon Roy disagrees with you, Michael Red might be up your alley, and it is worth noting that he has an 80 strength, which is a big plus. It's 12 more than Brandon Roy, which will allow him to switch certain matchups on the perimeter and deal with that a little better, not get posted up quite as easily. Let's take a look at his badges. Let's see what his defensive badges are looking like. So we see that Hall of Fame Quick Draw and Range Extender, which are both excellent. And again, he has one of the best releases in the game. So I would say hands down, if you get your hands on this card, you probably have a very good shooting guard. So yeah, so that's it for Michael Red. He has no post-up badges or anything. Excuse me. So then we got Andrew Wiggins. So the important thing about Wiggins is he's another 6'8" 2 guard, and there aren't that many of those. So now at this point you're looking at his animations and stuff, but the thing that makes me less interested at a glance, I have to see the card myself, is he has gold quick draw and range extender. If he had Hall of Fame quick draw and range extender, you might be looking at a sneaky T-Mac like on the low. But because of the gold, I don't believe he will shoot fast enough to be competitive with the cards in his price range. I would be surprised if this guy was better than like a Tyler Hero or again a Brandon Roy, even the pink diamond version of Brandon Roy. Not to say that he'll be a bad card. He probably has some great dunk animations. He has a 99 dunk, so he'll probably be the best dunker in that group. if he has the right animations. We'll have to get our hands on the card to see so. But we see here, even though he's 6'8", he's really anemic when it comes to interior play. He has a low strength rating, terrible rebounding. You know, the strength is 57, which is actually below average for a two guard in today's meta. Most of the even decent two guards have better ones than that. So he could get bullied, and for a pink diamond that might be a little pricey. It depends on his price range. If he comes down to 30, 40k, maybe you want to take a look at him. But above 30 or 40k, I would have to say that there are better options, including some of the spotlights. I still think Cam Reddish is probably better than this guy, and I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Porter Jr. was also competitive with this guy as well. So I think he might be the biggest L in the group in terms of like value. Depending on how he shoots. If the shot is fast, then maybe he'll be better. Ray Allen. So I'm gonna just be real with you guys. I'm not in the market for a 6'5" shooting guard at this point in the game. Like, if you want a 6'5" two guard, you can play Oscar Robinson or James Harden or something. He's free, like a Jamal Crawford. But if you're a Ray Allen fan, this is basically a Ray Allen card. I mean, he has a kind of a low mid-range at the 89. It shouldn't affect him too much with coaching boosts and floor general. That's basically going to be a 99 anyway. His driving dunk is pretty bad. He has no standing dunk. Bad block. Terrible steal for a two guard. And I don't know if he has the longest arms in the world either on his character model. So playing the passing lanes might not be super great with Ray. Interior defense is a 45, which is horrible. Offensive and defensive rebounding is terrible. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say, I don't think this is a very good card. I think the spotlight two guards are better than this Ray Allen. Maybe not specifically at just the shooting part of it. So if you just want the shooting, you might want to look at, I don't know, maybe Tim Hardaway or something. He's going to be pretty cheap, so he might be fine. But I just think I think you might want to spend more money, more MT on Ray Allen. I mean, on a card to replace this Ray Allen. I don't know if he'd be worth it. Definitely splashing for that pink diamond Brandon Roy might just be worth your time more, because I don't think Ray's far enough ahead of the free cards to justify really any price tag. That could be money. That could be MT going towards a better card. Mo Bamba, who I am absolutely the most curious about out of this entire group, because he goes in line with these fast, well shooting centers, and as ridiculous as the new Shaq card is, this card should be just in that same category. You look at him; he's got the I'm looking at the chat real quick. You got him. He only has a 70 driving dunk, which is really, really low. He does have a 90 standing dunk, a 69 ball handle, which I highly recommend you put a shoe on this card, because the difference between the 69 ball handle and over 70 ball handle is a lot of good dribbles. So you definitely want to put a shoe on this card immediately. And those shoes are only 4K. Well, maybe they'll be more expensive because Shaq is out, but those shoes run between 4 to 7K. So if you have a ball handling shoe, definitely throw it on this card. He has a 90 speed. That's what we're talking about. So I think with this kind of card, the cool thing is he can defend on the perimeter. You can definitely run him at power forward as a 7-foot power forward. He shoots well enough to play the power forward. He only has a 60 strength, which is really bad. So I would even say this card is not a center. This card is a power forward. As a power forward, I actually think he might be pretty good. Let's look at his defensive stats and badges real quick. So defensively, he's got a 98 block, and I'm sure this idiot has pogo stick. So they probably invented a new badge higher than Hall of Fame for his pogo stick. So let's see. He's got all the shooting badges that he doesn't deserve. We get that. Okay, there we go. Hall of Fame rim protector, Hall of Fame chase down, Hall of Fame post move lockdown, and Hall of Fame pogo stick, along with Hall of Fame rebound chaser and intimidator, which are all excellent. Plus he has clamps and box. Yeah, this is definitely a really, really good card to run at the power forward. And I'm hoping that he will be really cheap, because I would love to grab this card, and I will probably play him as a backup to Dino Raja, or to who am I running at the 4? To Bol Bol, who I run at the 4. I'd probably bring in this guy at the 4. And he would be my new pink diamond Anthony Davis, basically, since I had to sell AD before his price tanked. But yeah, so that is it for the normal cards. Now let's go ahead and look at the glitched cards. Find those real quick. Look at the chat as I do this. The overinflation of cards is why I could never get into the mold, says Pete Toll. Anthony Diaz, why I quit my team. TJFRS says, I'll keep running glitched Ben over Zoe. Yeah, man, I definitely think running Ben and Magic is still the way to go. At this point, we're just waiting for LeBron, or if they just randomly choose somebody and make them a point guard. There's actually a few names out there. I don't know if Joe Johnson is in this game, or if he just doesn't have a contract or whatever. But Joe Johnson, I believe, played point guard for a time, so they could come out with a Juice Joe Johnson who's 6'8" and has actually had a really good handle, a really good shot. So the my team version of Joe Johnson would be just as broken as anybody else if they drop him. And he'd probably have a shooting form. He'd probably be the best, the biggest guard with the best form if they come out with a Joe Johnson. But I don't know if he's in the game because he doesn't. I haven't seen a Joe Johnson card. You guys can inform me on that. Vincent Grenier says, what the hell are we getting in 2 months if we just got last year's Opal Shaq as a pack drop in April? Yeah. I totally agree with you, man. I totally agree with you. I don't know where... Well, we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about that in a second. So right now I'm looking for the glitched... here we go. Flash glitched Shaquille O'Neal. All right, so Shaq is going for over 1 million MT. You know what's funny about that? I'm very curious to see if this Shaq is that good. And I'm not saying he's not good. Of course he's good. He's Shaq with ball handling at 3-point range. But with the centers, I personally don't think that the range extender on a point center is as important as it is with a catch and shoot center. So while Shaq will be both at the same time, which is obviously fantastic, I don't know if it's million MT fantastic. I don't know if somebody else is running, like I think somebody could be running Wilt or Kareem and lock your Shaq up because they're a better player than you, and you spent 1 million MT for nothing. So, but let's look at him. So he has, and we're going to get to the crux of it here. So Shaq has Hall of Fame quick draw and range extender. It's like they just skipped bronze range extender, which would have already been ridiculous, and allowed them to put out another Shaq. Gold range extender, forget that. That's weak. We need Hall of Fame range extender. That's what we need to do. Oh man, like that's crazy. All right, so he has an 83 ball handle, which obviously you're gonna put a shoe on him and get that to 86, so he can always speed boost. I'm very curious to see what his dribble package looks like, because depending on how silly his dribble package is, it could be the thing that not only like we're already in a ridiculous place because as you see him compared to this Bol card, which shouldn't even exist. And he has a 94 speed, which is fantastic. So he's probably the best card in the game. The only reason I don't say he's the best card in the game, because the thing is with Ben and Giannis at the point guard, essentially there's nobody to defend them. Like you have to switch your matchups and do that other stuff. As good as this Shaq card is, there are centers that can defend him just fine. Like Kareem and Wilt Chamberlain should defend him just fine. Because those cards are so fast and they got great wingspans and great defensive stats. So while Shaq is fantastic, I just don't know if it's possible to make a center under 7'5" the best card in the game. I think to make a center the best card in the game, he has to be 7'5" version of the Shaquille O'Neal. You have to like go to Boban and do this to him. You know what I'm saying? So that having been said, so now we're going to get into the conversation. For this conversation, I actually wanted to bring in my man Spatial Jones. Oh yeah, we gotta look at Ben Wallace before we do that. And this is the point at which we want to bring us back. So alright. So I'm about to bring in Spatial Jones in a second because he said something that I thought hit the nail on the head exactly. So my question is to you guys, as you can see Ben Wallace on the screen with his 92 3-point range. Yep, we're all disgusted. 86 ball handle. Now Ben is 6'9", so you're gonna have to, he's a small forward. Oh, so he's just a LeBron James card? Is that what happened? They just made Ben Wallace into LeBron James? He's got Hall of Fame quick draw. Yep, all of the defensive stuff as we expect. I bet he has some really nice defensive animations and gold range extender. So, so obviously this is unrecognizable if you're a fan of Ben Wallace, and my buddy Spatial Jones is a big fan of Ben Wallace. He's been waiting all year for a good Ben Wallace card, and even though he's going to pull packs, he's going to try and get this card, he's not particularly happy. And I'm going to bring him in right now as I unmute him in the chat to find out why he's not happy. All right, Spac, you are unmuted. Welcome to the show. Spac is actually the first guest I've had here on the At Me Bro channel in this form of it. So welcome aboard, man. And you said something about Ben Wallace, about waiting for him. Can you tell the people what you said? Oh, hold on, Spac. I don't think you're sharing your voice. Can you make sure your voice is on share in the chat? Sorry, guys. Thanks so much for letting me know in the chat. We're gonna restart that. So the first thing he said was thanks for inviting him on the show, and a shout out to 2K Gamer in that community who's very active in the My Team streets, and they do make the game mode more fun. Even though I see some fantastic ideas on that channel, no doubt. But
Can you guys hear me?
yeah, so that's a check right there. Let's see here. Try it again.
Yo, yo, yo. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, they can hear you. Okay.
Tight, tight. So yeah, essentially what I was saying was the Diamond Ben Wallace that was in the reward market because if you know me, I primarily purchase packs. I don't really work the auction house. So at the start of the year, I locked in a few of the regular sets, to get some tokens to get the Diamond Ben Wallace. And by the time I had gotten them, it had maybe been week 3 of the game after they just released, and he already wasn't usable. He was too slow, just way too slow. He didn't have the acceleration. He didn't have what he needed to be able to be played. And I kind of been requesting to use this card or to get a better Ben Wallace for quite some time, or at least just have at the very least, because I don't think there's a lot of Ben Wallace fans. At least get the one that we had in the reward market updated. So it was just a little unfortunate, to be honest, to see, Ben Wallace not even be created as a center. Um, you know, he's a small forward. I don't know when that's ever happened. I don't even know if Ben Wallace played small forward at Virginia Union. Um, to just kind of see him this way, it's not. It doesn't make me happy. I'm
Hmm.
gonna get him, or I'm gonna try to get him, just because he's probably my favorite center of all time. I've always loved Ben Wallace. I was a huge Pistons fan, in my teenage years, and it's not right. It just doesn't feel right to kind of see him with range extender and dimer and just these badges that he literally doesn't resemble the player I remember watching. That was a huge shot blocker that could switch on everybody. Play
So,
super active defense.
and you bring up an excellent point, and I compare him to almost like a tall Allen Iverson, right? So the one thing that they haven't really done yet is they haven't drastically, at least on purpose, shout out to 6'6" Leandro Barbosa, adjusted someone's height to make them an unrealistic version of themselves, right? So they haven't done a what if Allen Iverson was 6'6" card yet. So the fantasy of playing an Allen Iverson card is that you are small and that you do come with this built-in advantage, but you have these other things that make up for it. And I would say
Right.
the same thing is like as a fan of Ben Wallace, who actually was a fan of Ben Wallace while he was with the Pistons. I enjoyed. He was probably my favorite defensive player to watch at that time because he
Mhm.
could change a game on the defensive end of the ball, and he did seem like he was everywhere. And it was the thing where he could guard Shaq, he could lock down your best post-up player, and block shots on your perimeter guys trying to go to the basket, and just kind of be all over the place, and the effort was always there, the rebounding and everything. And even when his stat line wasn't crazy, you felt his presence. And I think that's the fantasy you want to fulfill with Ben Wallace. And I think when you are so they said that this is a fantasy mode. So, but my question is, whose fantasy is it to see Ben Wallace with a three-point shot? Because while you are a bigger fan of Ben Wallace than I am, for me the
Mhm.
joy of getting a Ben Wallace card is as you described. Even if he's overpowered, it's overpowered defensively, right?
Right.
You still want to have that, find ways to score with him on the offensive end because he's scoring double digits from time to time. But you don't want him to be, 7'2". You don't want him to be a shooter. You don't want to see him putting the ball between his legs because Ben Wallace didn't do those things. That wasn't his game.
Never.
Yeah. So this is my question for you guys in the chat too. Is there anybody in the chat that Brandon Rose said, "I'm so glad you told me to sell Shaq"? Yeah, man. I'm no auction house master, but I have a pretty good
That was a
feeling
great
on
call.
when to sell some of these cards. It's like that Anthony Davis. He had to go. Here we go. We got Mo
Yeah.
Bamba, right?
Right.
So, but what's up, Cygo? So, yeah. So my question to anybody in the chat is this your fantasy? Is there anybody like this where Shaq gets a three-point shot? Like, is that the way you want to see this? And mind you, I've said this all year with other cards we've gotten, and I'm not picking on Shaq. I feel the same way about Giannis getting range extender, for instance, or quick draw and stuff like that. I thought Honestly, I thought the Diamond Giannis was almost perfect, and that the Spotlight Giannis was just that little bit too much that you should stop making Giannis cards. Right?
Right.
Of course, they were going to make more Giannis cards, and they were going to have to put him at point guard because Giannis is so good at everything else that even range extender isn't what significantly changes him. What significantly changes him is putting him at the point guard position.
Right.
But yeah, so that's my main question, and that's you guys can tell me here in the chat. Y'all can tell me in the comments. Tell me on Twitter, tag Robbie or whatever. I want to see this discussion of whose fantasy is it, because so here's my productive answer. Right, is the goal of this mode, it's not to be realistic. Like that's the straw man argument, right? Where you're saying, well, if you want realism, play now online. Or if you want realism, play all-time rosters. No one's asking for realism. I haven't seen anyone make the argument that they want realism. What people want is they want players to represent a fantasy version of themselves. And the question from player to player is, what do you do to this player that makes them no longer like themselves? They no longer play the play style that they represented in real life, right? So, and here we're going to talk a little bit about the balancing of my team. And I would like for you, Spac, to give me your feedback on what you've experienced since you play a lot of My Team Unlimited. So,
Yeah.
what we've seen a lot, well, real quick, I'm just going to set you up. The reason Shaq needs range extender is because even when Shaq first dropped, he was unable to back anyone down consistently because height matters more than strength in the game period. But strength, even though it's somewhat important, they handed it out to every other big man card. So Shaq wasn't the strongest card in the game because virtually everybody was running at a 99. What has been your experience as a guy who played a lot of Pink Diamond Shaq?
So when I had the Pink Diamond Shaq, he was okay in the first like few games I used him because he wasn't really Shaq. I actually used to call him Draymond O'Neal because he essentially had the ability to run up the court and run fast breaks, put the ball between his legs. He could do like a moving crossover that was pretty effective. And he could score. He could score under the bucket that way. But you couldn't use him, as a post-up big for too long because right at that time, if you remember, when he had come out, that's when we started getting more big men that could actually shoot.
Yeah.
He was actually outclassed in the meta pretty quickly. You really only had 1 week of like Shaq being like an elite center, even defensively in the game. And I think you hit the nail on the head just with, strength. Him not being stronger than anybody because everybody else has the same strength. Having Hall of Fame drop stepper didn't really matter. All those badges that should make him an elite presence inside, it just wasn't there. And a lot of his dunks, I know I wasn't able to trigger some of his like signature dunks. I've seen some people do them. I want to say when I played Brandon, he got one of Shaq's signature dunks. But mind you, that's him using Shaq 2 months after he had already come out.
Yeah.
That was the first time I had seen
The first time you saw it.
He clearly wasn't. He wasn't even like that. You didn't get the full, I'd say like gameplay of him. There just wasn't enough time. He was already unusable. It was just way too quick.
Yeah, and in order to make Shaq usable, now they have to give him range extender. I think Shaq also suffered from a couple of other nerfs in the game. So rightfully so, post-scoring takeover was nerfed heavily, right?
Yeah.
So like last year, you just turned into the Incredible Hulk and you could do whatever you wanted. The unfortunate thing is post-scoring takeover now, in my experience, is is best on spin moves and post spin launches either direction. If you try to do it on a hook shot, which is one of Shaq's specialty moves, they actually do a slow wrestle animation, but the person that you wrestle has time to recover and contest your hook shot. So it's not good for that. And the drop step has also been heavily nerfed since last year, and which was also Shaq's other move. So between post-scoring takeover being nerfed, between drop stepper being nerfed, and between the hook, not hook shots, but the hook shot in takeover being nerfed because it has that bad animation. Shaq kind of took a hit this year, and they never really addressed that because I think it's one of those things that most of the community is not going to care too much about it. Despite the fact that drop steps were super OP last year, people just moved on to other moves like the post hook and stuff like that this year.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. That's exactly the time I started seeing the hook shot, and maybe Shaq kind of brought that on because defensively, I don't think defense is ever really talked about enough. But
Yeah,
defensively, Shaq is still solid because he has clamps and he had a really high lateral quickness even at the pink diamond level.
right.
But again, when you're still giving up about 12 points and you can't respond, you're only going to get so many stops. Even if you manually switch and trap, there's just a huge gap in your game.
Yeah, you know me. I'm as big a fan of shooting as anybody, but I think the most important thing a center can do is guard the pick and roll and switch up on defense and be in the passing lanes. I think that's the number one skill of bigs in my team. And then the next skill would be can they shoot? And if they can
Right,
do those two things, they're probably an elite big. And then everything else after that is icing on the cake, like post up and ball handle and all that other stuff.
right. And I wanted to loop back to your point about like whose fantasy is this like
Yeah.
that they're trying to create here. I think that like Bol Bol, we've all kind of seen Bol Bol in high school. We saw like Bol Bol in college. Like in theory, his Opal card plays like that. And if this is the fantasy mode, that is easily that's more digestible.
Right.
Anytime I've seen a juiced Aaron Gordon card, like if you Aaron Gordon has one of the greatest high school mixtapes you can watch on YouTube. That fantasy is like it doesn't seem like we're even making a basketball game anymore. This seems more like NBA Jam.
I'm actually glad you set that up that way because I think this is what, and now to turn it back to the developers, right? Now I understand that this is a monetized mode, so you have to keep people buying packs, right? And there's going to be
Hmm.
certain things that are about that aspect of design. How do we design this mode to be profitable?
Hmm.
Let's table that, sure. But there are other my team style modes in other communities, and I think we can agree that out of all of them, 2K is by far the most unrealistic and the one that breaks the design of their sport the most, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So my thing is, as a development team, you have to have a design structure in the game to keep the fantasy within certain boundaries. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like the fantasy has to be Shaq is the bruiser archetype, right? Or you almost look at it like Overwatch to a degree, where this is a character type. Tracer's never gonna get a rocket launcher. Reinhardt's never gonna be a healer. Same thing in NBA 2K. Like Iverson never gets above a 55 strength, right? No matter what,
Right.
no matter what Galaxy Opal he is, whatever, he's never gonna get that. Guys like say Tim Duncan should never be above a 75 speed, right? Like
Right.
75 is probably juiced for Tim Duncan, but that's just not his archetype. You know what I'm saying? Like he never plays that way. And some cards, some players that are more well-rounded, they're going to have a bit of an advantage, right? So you
Right.
might have a situation where Kevin Garnett is easier to juice his cards because he was well-rounded, right? Or an Anthony Davis or something like that. And then you get the guys who are tall. Good news is most tall players weren't super fast. Most tall players weren't great shooters. So the real life NBA actually balances this out and keeps it within a structure. But the thing is, when you juice everything to a certain point, like past a certain point, you start to create your own game. And that's when the game becomes less fun, I think, for people. Because what happens is you play this other 2K, which is represented everywhere else, right? It's represented in Play Now. It's represented in the early months of my team. It's represented in Pro-Am. It's represented in Park. It's represented in, All-Star Team Up, where it's within the boundaries of 2K. But once you make everybody 7 foot tall, you give everybody range extender, you give everybody 99 speed, the game is not designed to be fun under those circumstances. So the boundaries are kind of built in to the design. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
also there's the basketball aspect of it, right? Like part of basketball IQ is who you leave open, who you double, who you pressure. But if everybody is Giannis with a Steph Curry jump shot, you don't have to make choices on defense. You can just play the same uniform defense and the same uniform offense,
In
regardless of
all
what cards you
scenarios.
have, in all scenarios, right? Regardless of what cards you have. So that seems to be the built-in design boundaries. So some people want to say, well, it's a fantasy mode, so do whatever you want. I don't think it's ever do whatever you want. It's a fantasy mode, so you exaggerate. But exaggeration is not the same thing as going completely off the rails and breaking the base design of the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, and this has always kind of been my thing. Like, I think the devs are in a tough spot, at least the my team devs, and I think that they have to create their own game, or they are creating essentially their own game within the game that no one outside of my team users who are experienced are familiar with. And I think that it just it just becomes a little frustrating because like when you do point guard Giannis, we all knew point guard Giannis was coming. And to
Yeah.
Giannis's credit, he played point guard before, not very well, not very not a top 10 player in the league at that point under Jason Kidd, but he did it. But we knew that was coming. We knew point guard Bron is coming, and there'll probably be another point guard Bron. And we knew what that was going to look like.
Mhm.
Anybody who just has experience with the mode, knew that they needed to build a team to deal with that. Having like a card like primarily Shaquille O'Neal, I don't think Shaquille O'Neal is game breaking as much because I feel like unless they went in and gave him new animations, he's still gonna have the same animations as Pink Diamond had. The only card I've seen with new animations, it feels, from their Pink Diamond is the Opal Crystal. He seems a little bit different, or at least from his Diamond to his Opal, he doesn't even seem like the same player.
Mhm.
But I feel like managing the meta is important, and these card drops, have to be closely examined, for how they're gonna, just create this new environment. Because the thing about my team, being able to make a custom team to your liking, we both know guys that create theme teams. We know guys that create, themes for okay, this player just lived in Chicago. Those guys cannot go online and play anyone, and if they do, it's literally to their own like detriment because they're gonna
Mhm.
get blasted. They're gonna get
Mhm.
absolutely
Mhm.
obliterated because they have weaknesses that are real basketball weaknesses, and then they're coming against demigods like using Ben Simmons at point guard the way you can use him right now. Michael Jordan or Oscar or just substitute any of your favorite shooting guards in my team. Um, Kevin Durant, uh, Opal Anthony Davis, and now Shaq or Bol Bol. That's a handful for anything, and
Yeah.
it's completely and utterly broken because a lot of these cards are being given a quick first step too, which
Mhm.
I think it would be a little bit more balanced if they didn't give them the badges that kind of take it over
Well,
the
you
hump.
bring
Like
up an
if you
excellent
gave them,
point, right? So
hmm
with position locks, it's one thing to say this player didn't play that position, so I don't like it. It's another thing to say, well, this player doesn't exist and they didn't play that position, right? So
right,
with Giannis, it's like, okay, I get that Giannis, you can put him at point guard, that's whatever, but should he be so equipped to guard Steph Curry running around pick and rolls? Should he be so equipped to shoot from range extender range? That's the problem. Like if people were running Diamond Giannis at point guard, I don't think everybody would run Diamond Giannis at point guard because Diamond Giannis had limitations. He had the limitations of real life Giannis. Where
right,
he can hit the 3-point shot sometimes, but it's not particularly fast, and you're just giving it to him because you don't want him to dunk on you. But if you press up on him, he's not going to pull up in your face. That's not a skill he has. So that guy at point guard is like, all right, if there's some give and take. But when you give him range extender, when you give him, all of the lateral quickness, and you give him, uh, quick draw and all of that stuff, now it starts to get to a place where okay, well, of course he's better than Steph Curry. And this goes to the same thing
right,
about Shaq being phased out early in the year. You picked up Shaq and he was basically phased out immediately because they were handing strength to everybody. And the same thing happens with the smaller point guards. They get phased out because they hand out speed to everybody.
yep,
And it's this complete lack of restraint on archetype forming qualities that takes away the balance of the game. So, for instance, the theme of this show, if you want to call it, is Whose fantasy is it? Well, suppose someone's fantasy is Steph Curry. Oh my God, I'm so angry. I just missed a 1300 snipe for Mo Bamba. Oh, that hurts. That hurts.
Yikes.
That hurts.
Yikes.
Yeah, we gonna get a cheap Mo Bamba because I'm sitting on with resources included. I have a 500,000 MT, and I'm still trying to nickel and dime my way to a cheap Mo Bamba because I'm that dude now. But if you had the fantasy of playing with Allen Iverson, SN card, or playing with you know, Steph Curry, your fantasy is being infringed on by people with the fantasy of playing with Giannis Antetokounmpo over range extender at point guard, which I don't really know whose fantasy that is, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know. Man, I was pretty fast on that one, and I didn't get him. I'm a little mad. I was one for 3,000. 3,000 Mo Bamba. I shouldn't be trying to. Yeah, I know, right?
Man. Nice. Oh, I just saw the 3,000. Oh,
yeah.
That stinks.
Yeah. And you see, I was actually on top of it that time too. Like, I wasn't even late. I think I saw it late. Like, I refreshed too late. But anyway, so it's like in the true basketball fantasy, there is the styles make fights kind of argument, right? Fast versus, big, and great shooting versus great defense, and guys who dribble and finish well versus guys who dribble and shoot well. If you take away the individuality of all of these styles, then you take away the dynamics of the kinds of games you can play, right? Then you take and that inherently makes the mode more boring because you're gonna eventually feel like you're playing the same person over and over again.
Yep.
Right?
And we've never had it this prominent, like this early. I mean, Corona I tend to think Corona maybe messed with the content release schedule a bit, since, me and Brennan were talking about it the other day. There won't be any playoff packs. There won't be any award winner packs like we usually get. We usually get some sort of all NBA, MVP, whatever type of pack. So, it seems like they're pushing all that up now for us to get, Bowl last week, Taco Fall last week, Shaq now this week. And I don't really consider these Spotlight Slim opals to be anything outside of just like stuff that's in the now that people are kind of pushing out there. So I think that it's just kind of unfortunate that the longevity of the mode is being sacrificed here, for activity in the now, right? Because everybody's home. If you're not working, you could do tons of other things.
Yeah.
So, but now, the Shaq just came out, and while you may not like it, you'd be a fool to not try to see if you can get something, even if it's
right.
Mo Bamba and walk away with a good card deal.
Yeah, it's funny. If I wasn't creating content, this would definitely, like on a personal level, be that point where I would say I'm going to spend my 400k MT on packs, and if I get Shaq, then I will continue to play the game, and if I don't, I'm out of here.
I'm done. Yep.
Yeah, I would do that normally, but I'm going to continue to just proceed as I have been. I'm going to get and so this is kind of my message to everybody watching this video. This isn't a doom and gloom video about, this game sucks and how could they do this and all that stuff. Guys, this started at All-Star break, all right? Yes. This started at All-Star break, and I made peace with this a while ago. So if you didn't hear me, moaning about Bol and stuff like that, or any of these cards, it's because I already made peace with it. And when I started this mode, honestly, I was just going to make a team good enough to beat Mazik and then laugh at him until next year. That was my entire goal. And then I started getting into the mode and started the channel and stuff like that. And you guys supported the channel so much that I was like, all right, well, I'm going to keep supporting it as long as people want to see the content. And so now that's my reason for being engaged in this stuff. And I say all that to say I wouldn't be engaged if I wasn't having fun.
Right.
And my thing with you guys is don't be slave to the game that they made. Make sure you have a way to have fun with this mode. If you have fun pulling packs, and some people do have fun pulling packs, don't feel guilty about that. That's your hobby, right? Some people buy guitars and shit. Some people buy ships in a bottle, make model airplanes. Some people is sneakers. For you, it's opening packs. That's totally fine, right? That's not me being a 2K shill. I just rake 2K over the coals for a half hour. That's just me, 2K player to 2K player, customer to customer telling you, have your fun, in the way that you want to have your fun. So if pulling packs is yours, then you do your thing. Spac pulls packs, and I tease him about it, but I want him to keep pulling packs. I want him to have a good time, and I want to keep teasing him. It's an ecosystem. All right.
It's not very nice. Yep. Yep.
If playing my team unlimited and sweating and trying to be the best player is your thing, then do that. But if you find that the game doesn't play the way you like, here's the thing. I have a lot of friends that I can play in this game, and the absolute most fun way to play this game 5v5 is to say between 92 to 94 overall,
Yes.
and then go at it. That's so fun. It's
Oh my
actually
God,
really
it's so
good.
fun.
You're right? It's like actually really
Crazy
good.
fun. Crazy fun.
And listen, we're not 100% anti quote unquote cheese. We play the game that they designed to some extent. We have a friend who I'm not going to name, MF Doombot, who.
Sorry. Shout out to the Doom set. If you're in Rated Sim, you know about the Doom set, man. Shout out to Big Old Doom.
He is not afraid to tap square when he's going into the lane with Giannis. And you know it's something you got to deal with. But at the same time, he doesn't try to do that for 98 possessions in a row. All right. Same thing for me. Like, I'm not afraid to throw out a dribble move. I don't momentum dribble behind the back every possession in a row. I don't hezzy pull up every possession in a row. I'm trying to have a good time playing a basketball game and win. You know, so if you can find a group, especially if you're on 2K Gamer, you know plenty of people that you've gotten into arguments with over this game, and you know they think this is unrealistic, this, that, and the other. Have fun with your video game. Don't just suffer. You know what I'm saying? If I was just here suffering, I definitely would not be. I would just tell you guys, hey, look, the game is borked. I'll see y'all in August when we start getting news about the next game. And I'll do a wrap up of what this game was, and we'll talk about the meta and blah blah blah. But the community has supported me with their subscriptions and their time watching the channel, and I want to support the community back with more content. So I'm gonna keep making stuff. God damn it! I missed a 2350. Stupid.
Damn, man.
I was fast that time too, man. Like I was on it. I was tapping down, man. And right now it's just too competitive, man. These snipers is on this Mobamba. You know, it's funny because people always talk about this game is dead. If you want to know how not dead this game is, snipe any random card. Like literally,
A card by accident.
just
Yeah,
any
freaking
card.
fail.
Just choose somebody, right? Just a
By
random
accident.
card. You know, I mean, literally, if you go in and you're like, I'm gonna go to the Isaiah Thomas collection and I'm gonna snipe Jerome Kersey, and you lose that snipe to somebody sniping Jerome Kersey. Like, there's literally hundreds of thousands of people in the snipe filters, let alone people playing all kinds of modes of this game. So this game is far from dead. They're doing their thing. It's just while they're doing their thing, you got to do your thing, and that's my thing. Like, even so, I guess the answer to part of this is, so the question I asked is, whose fantasy is this? And the answer we first had was it's not the fantasy of people who love basketball, because if you love basketball, even your NBA Playgrounds version of this, like your NBA Street Volume 2 version, is still Dr. J's the dunker, Steph Curry's the three-point shooter, right? Like Kobe's the slick, well-rounded guy, Vince Carter's the flashy, dunker guy, and so on and so forth. You want everybody to play like an exaggerated, fun version of themselves on their best day. That's our fantasy. I can't tell you guys what your fantasy is, but I can say for the developers, guys, devs, you have to have a fantasy too, man. Like, I understand, got to make cars juice, got to make them attractive to sell. That's all well and good. I'm not going to sit here and hate on capitalism. I'm part of it too. But you have to design the game in a way that it doesn't break when you make cars desirable. I don't think I'm telling you anything you don't know, but I would really love, like, can the developers who work on this mode look themselves in the eye and say, I love the way this plays now? I think I'm making a card that makes the mode better. Like, that's just a personal question,
That's a good point.
Just
And
be
I'd
honest
like
with
to add
yourself.
something, too.
Go ahead,
Like,
please.
I think the other part of it too is, and if this is your fantasy and you like, super exaggerated versions of Shaq and whoever, have fun. Like, nobody's hating on you. This is just a conversation about
Yes.
game balance. Because game balance, man, like, this is the age we live in. Game balance is incredibly important. We all play this game year in and year out, put in a ton of time, and I think what you said was very important. Just in terms of, if you weren't doing the content, there would be no real reason for you to play it, because unfortunately, playing in a world where Shaq has range extenders, just ripping the band-aid off is not fun.
Right.
Just not fun. It may be fun for some, but it's not fun for people who play the mode. Like for real, it's not.
Yeah, and
It's
for
not.
me,
If
it
you
comes
get them,
down
if
to
anybody gets them, no, congratulations, no hate, congratulations.
right.
Make that
Absolutely,
MT or have a ball.
absolutely, absolutely. And so my thing is the way the mode is now. You're like forced to have that attitude, and it's totally fine. I'm not mad at it, but my thing is this. I just want to explain our stance because it's twofold. Number one is I would prefer the players to still resemble themselves somewhat, to not go outside of the boundaries set for them. Because once you give Shaq range extender, I don't see any reason Allen Iverson can't be 6'8". Why is he getting hated on? Because of his
Or
height.
have a 99 strength. How about that?
Right. Why
Why
can't
can't he
Allen
have
Iverson
that?
have 99
Why does
strength?
this Lonzo Ball card that was just released not have a 99 strength? He has a 53 strength. Why?
Right. Why?
Why does he have a restriction but Shaq doesn't? Well, I
Absolutely.
get that Shaq is the prize of the pack, but even still, he's an opal too.
Yeah.
What's the difference there?
Yeah, I'm totally with you, right? So to me, the first point is I prefer them to be recognizable versions of themselves because that's the basketball fantasy. But the gameplay fantasy is totally separate from that. The gameplay fantasy, you could take that first point, throw it out in the sea. It's not about who has what powers. It's about when you give every card everything, the mode homogenizes. The mode it congeals into one player. One 7 foot tall, 99 speed, 99 everything, Hall of Fame everything player at every position. And that is not how basketball is. Basketball is a bunch of different people of different skills and different sizes matching up. So for instance, there's a function in the game that says switch matchups. You can run a team now that you don't have to switch any matchups. You just switch on every pick and roll, which entirely changes how the pick and roll dynamic is made with no trade-off whatsoever. You're not trading off strength, you're not trading off speed, you're not trading off shooting.
Yep.
And
you
if
could almost make that lineup that you're describing right there at every tier up to about diamond. I don't know if Amethyst has enough cards that could do that, but like you can do that. So that means we're talking about just 30 players right now in the mode right now that can all play the exact same way.
Yep.
Right now at 3 card tiers.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Man, these guys are so fast. I hate them so much. It's not even just that they're fast, it's that the cards show up late. But no, I totally agree with you. Without having the styles and the matchups in that way, you literally break the fundamental aspects of the way basketball is played. Because, part of the reason the Rockets' entire play style exists is because they go at the mismatch. They go at the matchup. 2K's taking the matchups out of the game. So, what are we doing now? Right? So now you can't play Rocket style outside of ISO. Now it's just ISO 5 out. You can't do 5 out pick and roll because everybody's 7 feet tall with 99 speed and Hall of Fame clamps.
Yeah.
So until 2K adds a give and take back into the game, the mode in My Team Unlimited is going to be fundamentally broken. Now I do want to address one other thing because we always leave this out. For most people, no, whether you're Ty Debo, who's one of the best players in the world, or you're, somebody else who's one of the worst players in the world, everybody agrees My Team Unlimited is a stressful, sweaty experience because you go 12-0 or you wasted your time. So, and right now, I don't know what the point of going 12-0 for to get Wilt when Shaq is out there.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Just buy, Kareem might be deflated. In fact, I'm going to look at Kareem's price right now. Because this might be my magic moment.
I didn't think about him yet, to be honest. He's probably better than Sabonis.
Yeah. And again, I'm a Kareem fan, so if I buy this Galaxy Opal Kareem, I'm still gonna Evo the Pink Diamond, right? Like that. we gonna see that end of that road.
You gotta compare.
We gonna see that end of that road. Yeah. Actually, you're right. Oh man, I played Doom. Was it Doom the second game? No, it was Side Gold the second game. I brought in Kareem, and man, he was a monster. Even the Diamond, he was just so good.
Hit him up with that mid range pull up.
Yeah.
Hook shot. Just put him in the torture chamber at that point.
Unfortunately for me, Kareem's price has not come down one iota.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's very. Maybe he hadn't caught. Also, he hasn't caught up yet. So maybe by midday, his his price will be down. Because if he comes down to 300K, I'm gonna pick him up probably. I'll probably pick him up for 300. In
I
fact,
can see him going down to 350. I can see that happening today.
well, I do
Because they
350.
released those super packs yesterday. So
Yeah, yeah. Not sure if I. But he was in the buzzer beaters. But he wasn't in those, right? Was he?
no, yeah, no, you're right. Buzzer beaters
Yeah.
weren't in the super pack promo.
But all right, guys, yo, thanks so much for rocking with us. I'd love to hear your thoughts, both in the comments and everything else. I'm gonna read the chat real quick before we get out of here. So if you guys have any comments or questions that you want answered, put them in now. Let's see. So we got Carson Cruz. Shout out to Carson Cruz. Why not just add new animations like Opal Ben Wallace gets a unique swap block or Shaq turned into a tank in the paint that explodes at the rim? I totally agree. I think I think he meant that metaphorically, but
Hilarious.
that is funny. He like literally turns into a tank and shoots you out of
Oh
the
my
paint,
god.
which would make him more like Shaq than he currently is.
Oh my goodness. That would literally be hilarious. I mean, we got a flame in basketball. Why not?
Right?
Why not do that?
So, but I think the general idea is right though. There are actually signature animations in the game, like I discussed with James Harden, who by the way is fantastic. I think that James Harden might be really really good. I played him in what, 3 games yesterday. I played you
Since
twice.
you've done that, I've played them about 5 times since then. Not even kidding.
Oh really?
Everybody's using them now.
That's funny.
The at me ball effect.
So, what's your experience playing James Harden? Is he do you find him to be a strong card? Because you have Oscar and stuff like that, so you have a good comparison.
Against Ben, no. But
Mhm.
against I actually think he's better than Luka.
Yeah, I think he's better than Luka too.
Yeah,
I do think he's better than
has
Luka.
Just better animations in general because Luka's a good card, but his crossover is not that great. It seems like Harden has a little bit more wiggle, so he's tougher to guard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's definitely in that top point guard discussion. Point guard,
Yeah.
point guard discussion.
Yeah, I think he's definitely top 7. And then at that point, you have to. So I think the last thing I'll say about James Harden before we move on is James Harden is a card that's going to take a long time to master. So even wherever he is now, someone is going to be able to use that card at a higher level, and he will look a little bit better than that. All right, so there was a question in the chat. Do I think the Shaq has a counter? I think actually he has several counters to some degree because really, when it comes to Wilt and Kareem, I think defensively they're equipped to handle anything at the center position. And I would actually say even Dino might be able to defend Shaq just fine. And the thing about it on the other end is when Shaq is guarding those guys, that's going to be up to you and your skill. The Shaq card is not going to magically just stay in front of people just because he has good stats. I've cut up the best defensive cards in the game in both 5v5 and in Triple Threat Online regularly. In fact, I think as a park player, it's kind of a point of pride of like, if you think you're going to put this card on me and it's just going to shut me down, that's not happening. And I feel like the cards are all so good that we're in a place of great offense beats great defense when it comes to one-on-one scoring.
Yep.
Now, if you're going to play the Ty Debo style, that's when I think things switch up. And that's when I think it becomes actually less important how good you are as an individual defender than how it is. How are you as a person rotating and playing the passing lanes and putting pressure on the ball handler? I think Shaq's going to be fantastic at all of those things, but I think Wilt was already great at those things. Kareem was already absolutely fantastic at those things. Dino is a monster. He plays way bigger than his size because of his arms. So I think Shaq already had counters in the game, and I think the center is the wrong position to look for. In fact, I'll plug, if you go to my Operation Sports video on Where's the Meta Now, it's actually what I discussed, is that once they added all of these fast centers that could shoot into the game, this is no longer the place to look for your next step up. If you guys are curious where the next places are, I would say the next place is probably 2 guard, where at the 2 guard, there's only one Tracy McGrady right now. So we need other Tracy McGrady's at the 2 guard position that are that tall and that good and are stronger than Tracy. So like for instance, like a LeBron at the 2 guard who would have all of what Tracy has, but he also is stronger than Tracy and has a post game. So that would be the next place to go up. And then the other place, believe it or not, would be point guard. Because the thing about point guard is as strong as the tall point guards are, they still don't shoot as quickly and as well as the small point guards. So what I described before, like a Joe Johnson, if he was in the game, he's 6'8". He has one of the best shots. I mean, he's a great shooter in real life, so he's going to be a great shot in the game if they design him right. So I think a Joe Johnson could change the game at the 1 because he would basically have Dwayne Wade's hezzy pull-up, but he would also have LeBron and Magic's size. So that would be the next step up. Because while I do think the big point guards are overall the best, I think people can win that matchup if they're very, very good at generating threes. Because it's still harder to stop Dwayne Wade from generating a 3 than it is to stop anybody else from generating a 3. So, you know, it's about more of that. And if somebody's a master with that, again, you could watch any 12-0 run. Watch Ty Debo, watch RCA the Great. They're constantly shredding people with Ben Wallace and, you know, Magic and LeBron, with particularly Dwayne Wade as their go-to guy right now. So if Dwayne Wade gets taller, basically, at either position, then that'll be the next step up. For the game. I think Shaq is annoying.
He hasn't gotten a shooting guard, Kevin Durant, like, you know, with a Sonics jersey on, because, you know, he came in playing shooting guard. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten that.
That would be it. KD at the 2 guard would be it. And my God, if they did that, that would really piss me off.
Well, I think you could do that and, like, make him a diamond. You know what I mean? But he'd be weak if they gave him that jersey.
They wouldn't. They wouldn't do that. Yeah. Wayne says Joe Johnson's release is bad historically. Yeah, but a lot of releases are changed this year. A lot of guys are worse than they've been. A lot of guys are better than they've been. So, you know.
I think the Shaq release is really bad. That's why, you know, if you pull the Shaq today, be prepared to put in a little bit of time, which is fine. You play the game anyway. But, like, you know, his release it's rough. So, it's not an easy release.
You bring up a fantastic point, though. So I'm going to go into freestyle while we're here. No, I said we were leaving, but I want to show something real quick. So the reason I like Dino and Bol Bol so much is because of their release, right? I mean, there's other reasons to like them, of course, but their releases are very, very good. I actually hit Doom with this when we played. Do I not have them? Of course, I don't have them. Maybe he means from previous years or something?
I don't know. I was gonna say, did they just put in an update or something? Michael Franklin, did they put in an update for Harden's jumper?
Yeah. Ben Wallace has an 86 ball control, man. We're in the end times.
Jeez. Oh my gosh. Car's expensive right now too. His value hasn't come down at all. Almost at 200. Yeah, he's almost at 200K.
Who's this?
Imagine paying that. Ben Wallace.
Ben Wallace, yeah. Yeah, my only thing with Ben Wallace is like, is he better than? Well, he has all the best park dribbles. Wow, that's crazy. I might actually have to look at that card. If he's 200K, I might pick him up for 200K. I'll see what he looks like at nighttime. Okay, so the thing about centers that can shoot, right? I'll use Dino, who I like for this. So when you speed boost out of a dribble, and you have this like quick stop there, at any point during that you can shoot. I made a whole video about this. Now, if you're Shaq, the thing I'm going to be curious about to see if he's really overpowered is, can he shoot off of that really fast with great accuracy? Because when Dino is here at the logo, you have to guard him above the three-point line, because if you're just waiting for him the way you would on a Giannis card, he can pull up from right there and hit that shot literally every time. Like, I've been in here on Hall of Fame difficulty and hit this shot every time. So it's just a matter of it's literally just a matter of practice. You let him get out of that speed boost animation, and you shoot the shot at any point during this run stop. Sorry, I held the button too long here. So this is the animation in full, right? That's the whole animation, and you see the animation travels from here all the way to here. So this means that when you do that move, at any point during this journey, you can pull up and shoot. Now, Dino doesn't have range extender, but range extender starts... People think range extender starts on the three-point line. Range extender starts, like in terms of when you need it, it starts here. So at any point after this point in the animation, you can pull up with Dino and confidently hit that shot 100% of the time. So range extender does not make a difference in terms of that part of it. And if you look, just to prove this to you guys, I'm going to walk around the perimeter without moving space. See this? This is not range extender. This is range extender. This is where people stand on the hash when they're using their range extender. Not here. This is just a regular three-point shot. Your shot is not affected. Your three-point rating is not affected negatively from there. And you can see it in the percentages too. It's only like 1%. Like if you have floor general on, there's only 1% difference between like here and here. And you'll see a drastic drop between here and here. All right. So, and you can also see it in the hot zones. Like Dino doesn't have hot zones, but if the hot zone covers it, that's your regular three-point rating. That's a common misconception in, I think, a lot of people in the game, but especially the my team community. They think if they're shooting here at the edge that they're in range extender range. No, this is the range extender line. It shows that's what the line is for. It's for range extender. So if I do a momentum dribble from here and I pull up from here, I'm pulling up in my normal range. So that's a go-to shot for this card. So that's going to be a go-to shot for Shaq. The difference with Shaq is he can do it from here, right? But you're not going to guard Shaq from here because that's not the sweet spot to guard the drive. This is the difference between Shaq and Dino Raja, like as a shooter, really, in terms of the range extender. Is this line over that line? That's the difference. Right? So my question with Shaq in terms of whether he's super overpowered, does he break the game, is he the best card in the game, is he Dino Raja with range extender basically, is does his shot form facilitate that kind of pull-up? Because if his shot form doesn't fit, if his shot form is like too weird for that pull-up to be reliable, then he's a great card, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's necessarily like he's not great in the way that you think. He's not going to be like LeBron James or something, where LeBron can run around the perimeter and pull up and stuff like that. So I have to see that animation to see where he lands. And of course, Bol can do the same thing. Do I not have Bol on this team? Yeah, I do. I was about to say. I know I got Bol on this team. So Bol, same. So Bol does have range extender, right? So Bol can do that same move from right here. He can do that, stop anywhere, and pull up from anywhere and hit the shot. Now, the thing is, that's also a more, even if you have range extender, it is a more difficult shot to like hit that off the dribble from range extender. So and there you go. So you see a green from outside of that window. That's the difference. It's literally that little line right there. And anything further back from this area, you know, is a dicey proposition, especially if you don't have a 99-3 ball. And I always tell you guys, that's when the 99-3 really comes into play, because in this range, it doesn't matter if you have an 85-3, a 75-3, a 93. Everybody's going to hit really, really, really close to the same percentages based on their jumper. So if you have a person who has like base 98 and they got a 75 3-point shot, and you have a person who's base 98 and they have a 93-point shot, and they're shooting from here off the catch and shoot, they're going to shoot nearly the same percentage over the course of a game. Maybe one shot difference. But if they have to shoot from here, and let's say both of them have gold range extender and they got to shoot from here, the person with the 99 shot is going to make more shots than the person with the 89 shot. All right, so even though Shaq has that range extender, I think there it's going to make more of a difference because it's a higher margin of difficulty shot, him not having a 99 shot. So for that reason, I'm real curious to see at a high skill level how Shaq really plays. Because don't be surprised if some people are like, yeah, that Shaq is good, but I prefer Kareem because he's taller. Or I prefer, you know, Bol or Porzingis because of their shot release. Look, keep your eye out on that for competitive games with like the top players, because that's happened before, where everybody thought this card was the main card, and then you go to competitive play and you never see that card. And it's for a reason just like that. It's their release. It's, you know, something about their ratings that the broader community doesn't look at, but is a factor in the game. All right. So hopefully that explains to you. Thoughts on PD Andrew Wiggins? He's 6'8" and he could play the 2. Okay, all of that is great, but he has no strength, he has no interior defense, and he has gold quick draw and gold range extender. If any of those things were different, I would be excited about him. But as it is, I find it hard to believe he's better than Cam Reddish, who is free.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Michael Redd's actually stronger than Wiggins. He has an 80 strength.
Yeah. So right now it's still Tracy McGrady and everybody else, and until that conversation changes, the two guards, I'm kind of like sleep emoji, you know.
Yeah, you can have anyone. You can literally have anyone.
Yeah.
At any tier, it's, you know, right now, like you said, it's the centers.
Yeah, as long as they have clamps and potentially Intimidator and, you know, Hall of Fame range extender, yeah, you're good to go. Like, there's a lot of cards that fit that description that are really, really strong.
Hoping we get a Kobe, man. That would be That would be he'd possibly be the next one. That'd
Yeah,
be
I
the
mean, I
retreat. But I
want
got a
Kobe to
feeling
be
we're not getting it.
amazing, just because I want Kobe to be amazing. But yeah, we'll see, man. Let's see. Did they change Harden's quick draw? Oh yeah, Harden has Hall of Fame quick draw now.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. He's right here on the screen. Let's see what the shot looks like. Yo, shout out to
What?
Michael Franklin, bro. Shout out to you, bro. You came in clutch. I was about to shut this
What?
down.
Hold. What?
Oh,
Why is it
wow.
on MTDB today? Oh yeah, it is. I see it now.
Yeah, it's faster.
Does it feel better?
Yeah, it feels a little
Actually, let
better.
me let you talk to the people.
No, no, you're good. Yeah, it's a little faster it's not like monumentally faster, but it's faster. I don't think it's like it's good. I don't think it's now go grind 70 hours of
70 hours of games.
offline. Good. I mean, it's really good though. But I already thought James was good, so this is not really. Yeah, off the hezzy is really quick. I don't know if you see him on stream there, but
Did it give him any more new badges, or was it just the quick draw?
I'm about to take a look right now. I'm gonna check for that intimidator. Yeah, off the peekaboo. If you make that peekaboo disappear right away, he shoots actually really really fast. All right, let's look. Let's see what else changed about James real quick. No intimidator. Are there any other changes to James? I mean, he already had a 99 three ball.
I'm trying to read through it now. Not really showing me like what they would have updated outside of him getting Hall of Fame quick draw. Let me see. I'm just gonna literally compare him by going to the older one.
You said Bamba has a wicked step back, makes so much space. Yeah, I really want to try that Mo Bamba. But now it's funny because you guys see I have plenty of MT, but now I'm in stubborn mode because I've missed so many snipes talking to you guys. Now I need it. Now I need it for 5K or less. I think he'll be five. Like when there's that many snipes, his value is gonna come down. It's just people trying to capitalize on like the early hours.
And I know you were selling that. I put up about 4 of them at like under 5K.
You did?
Just to move the MT.
Yeah, the snipes are just too fast. That's the main thing.
Yeah, like you said, it's just too many people on right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, jumper does look clean.
Yeah, he looks really good.
Ooh. Ooh.
I mean, it's still not as fast. He's still no Dwayne Wade. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Nah.
I mean, all that tweeting about you might want to need him. Like if they're talking about that just because of one badge, they crazy. It doesn't significantly change the way he plays.
That peekaboo was wild. Like he's not even like putting a ball on the ground. You can
No,
already
it
go
doesn't
for
touch
the
the ground at
shot.
all.
That's wild, man. It looks like it's smoother. Does it feel a little smoother out of the peekaboo now?
It feels very
Since he has
smooth.
quick draw?
It feels great.
Okay.
It definitely feels great.
Wow, I can't believe you made that very early.
Yo, look at the shot I'm about to make right now. Wait till
That's
you see the
wild,
shot.
man.
I'm telling you, James can green these crazy shots in the right. Watch this one. It's about to happen right here.
Wow.
Green.
Wow.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like,
That's
James
crazy.
James Harden is a high skill card. And the thing is, unless you for some reason because look, Ben Simmons, look at that, Jesus Christ! I think the Hall of Fame quick draw it might have opened up the green window on these shots a little bit, because I wasn't hitting that many of those before. I was in here for a minute too. Yeah, those are going in now.
The back is clean. Oh my goodness.
I'm telling you, if somebody masters this James Harden card, they're going to be the most irritating person in the My Team Unlimited streets. Cause he can hit every shot that I'm doing right now. Like he can hit all of these. Oh my god, that shot is so clean. You're gonna see another one off the momentum that's so clean, dude.
It's just his ability to go fast and slow, like in his own custom.
Yeah.
That's crazy that you made that. In his own custom animations make him really tough to deal with. Especially when you're playing like you get so used to the My Team Unlimited gameplay and just trying to bump a guy and staying so tight like how I play
Yeah.
defense that facing somebody like him that can go fast and slow like that is really really tough. Somebody with the pink diamond gave me
I'm
like
about to
27 with James Harden. I
I'm
was
about
getting
to make another
torched.
one. Watch this.
You
What?
made that? Oh snap! That was the signature one.
His
Whoa!
card is so silly.
You didn't even green that.
Nope.
That's crazy. I still can't figure out Luca's signature stuff if he has it. I thought he had his signature step back.
His regular joint off the momentum, I actually see what the green window is, and it is not that hard of a shot. Like, just give it, like, seriously, you just got to get in here for a couple of hours and master this, but he's got it.
Go ahead.
Siri ruining my life as usual.
Boom. Man, that's such a nasty combo too. And what's
And,
crazy
and,
is
and
that
my
right
thing
now,
is, there's a lot of other stuff you can do out of it, you know? Like, I'm
yeah.
keeping it basic right now. Yo, that looks so crazy. You're going to see another crazy looking one. That is so glitchy. That is so good.
Whoa! 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 Whoa!
That is
Whoa!
so good.
That almost looks like the killer crossover. How do you add a
Yeah,
killer crossover into a custom step back?
that is sick. Yo, green, watch this. Green. Oh.
That's crazy. That card is wild.
It's so crazy, man.
Somebody said, "How do you do that?" Yeah, that's wild that you just figured that out. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
All right. So what you do is you do a you do a killer crossover, and then immediate before those animations take place, you want to hold backwards with the right stick, diagonal the opposite direction, right? Oh, not a killer crossover. I'm sorry, a momentum crossover. So you momentum cross, and before that happens, you want to press right stick. If I have the ball in this hand, I'm pressing it at 5 o'clock. Right? You see that? I actually interrupted the crossover super early with it right there. So you're just doing that. And if it's the other direction, it's the same thing, but it's 7 o'clock. So I'm doing momentum, and then 7 o'clock on the right stick, I'm still holding turbo. And after that animation ends again, you could do another step back. You just keep doing it. You just keep traveling. Just like real life James.
You can do that karate kick if you want to control. What's the karate kick?
Yeah, this James is fantastic. This James is fantastic. And the thing I like about him is that he's really good in his own way. You know, he's not a copy and paste card. So you gotta definitely put time into playing him. But yeah, he's strong enough to defend any two guard in the game. So you can play this card versus Ben Simmons if you switch the matchup. But all right, guys, that's gonna be it for the stream. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you have not already. I always appreciate rocking with you guys. And, I want to stress... Well, first of all, thanks to Spatial Jones for popping in with me. Spac, anything you want to say? You want to tell people what your stream is?
No, thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate coming through. Shout out to all the guys in the chat that I've spoken to for years. Carson, Sai, again, shout out to 2K Gamer, best site for 2K information. And you can catch me on Twitter, man, at Spatial Jones, and I do stream every now and again. It's Spatial Jones. You can come through anytime.
Oh, and that's on Twitch TV, guys. Spatial Jones.
Yeah,
Twitch TV / yeah. All right, guys. So thanks so much for rocking. I'll see y'all soon. And by everything, have fun with the game in your own way. For me, the most fun I can have is either just building up my deck, playing Triple Threat Online, or playing with my friends. That's the most fun. I will be playing a lot of my Team Unlimited at some point when I'm not as busy with work, but that's not what I'm not gonna be doing that for fun. That's all research to just help you guys get better at the game and for content. I don't think that's the most fun way to play at this part of the year, but if it's the most fun for you, then by all means have at it. But don't let the changes that 2K makes ruin all the time and possibly money that you spent on this mode. Find a way to have fun with it, because there is fun to be had. Don't be trapped by the illusion of having to play online and go 12-0. You don't have to do that. There's no reason to do that. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, and peace.